Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome. Thank you again for joining us. I think I'm going to start with Carol. Carol has a very nice announcement to share with you. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Carol.
Okie doke. Hopefully I can figure this out with this iPad here. But anyway, I got a call last week from the vice mayor of the city of Margate in Broward County, which is right next to Coral Springs. And he happened to be on the city commission in Coral Springs a few years ago, so he knew me. And when they decided they wanted to issue a proclamation, which I will show you in a minute, he thought of me, that I should be the one to pick it up. I have no idea why, but I had worked with him when he was in Coral Springs. So this is a beautiful proclamation for Women's History Month. And most of the words you won't be able, I think it's going to be on our website, and it is around. And in a minute, I will turn it around and see if I can show you.
Oh, yes.
It's a lovely wooden, it's a beautiful proclamation. And most of the words on it, which you can't read because it's too small, is from the proclamation that Ronald Reagan made when he was the second one to make a proclamation for Women's History Week. And he said a lot of good things. He said of things like, was American women had served as early leaders, and he listed all the different things and how involved we were in the rights of suffrage. Let me see if I can get the other thing back. It makes a little more sense. In the social change movement, they were leaders in suffrage, equal opportunity, and the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, civil rights, etc., that we were always involved in those things that made America really great. So for that, I think I will say we thank the city of Margate for giving us this proclamation. We'll have it at the luncheon, and we've got visuals of it on different things, the Facebook and our website, whatever, I hope. Anyway, thank you all for letting me say this, because it's really a nice way to celebrate Women's History Month.
Yes, it is. And I was so glad that they asked you, Carol. So congratulations on the honor. And thank you for sharing that with us tonight. Well, tonight we have another honor. I'm very honored to introduce you to Debbie Deland as our speaker tonight. She's had a very impressive past life and currently does also. Debbie is an activist and the president of the Florida National Organization for Women, also known as NOW, and for the Greater Orlando chapter of NOW. National NOW is the largest grassroots civil rights and women's rights organization in the U.S. Debbie drives the focus on key NOW issues, which we all know about and struggle to improve every day. That's keeping abortion legal, ending violence against women and girls, the ERA, racial justice, and the support of the LGBTQ plus community. It's an honor to sit with you tonight, Debbie, and listen to what you have to tell us about this great organization that I've known about for practically my whole life. And thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you. Am I able to share?
Yes, we gave you sharing rights.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, let me go to slideshow. It's not going to slideshow. I wonder why.
Click from beginning.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Florida National Organization for Women we are Florida Now. We're feminists fight fascism. We decided to get real direct in everything we say, and feminists fighting fascism, or feminists in general fight fascism, is important to us. And the other important piece of that is via action. So let me talk a little bit about, we already mentioned the largest grassroots civil rights organization, the 6 Pillars. We are an activism organization, not a service organization. We advocate. We've had about 50 years of repro history, working it hard, and drivers of ERA at federal and state levels. Our vision, we envision a Florida where all people experience true equality, equity, safety, and no community is marginalized. You'll notice that we don't have women there, and that's because of the LGBTQ plus community, to cover all people. Our purpose is to act through intersectional grassroots activism. We want to really drive societal change and protect the equal rights of all women and girls in all aspects of life. Sort of mentioned already our pillar issues, reproductive rights, the ERA, economic justice, racial justice, and you'll see us translate that to right now being DEI and public schools, K through 12, and higher ed being demolished, freedom from violence, and LGBTQIA rights. Our legislative action is based on those pillars. We release action alerts. We have a lobbyist that testifies for us in committees, and then we go up, chapters go up and testify, and then Florida Now, like next week, is going up. Okay. We also have something called the Digital Democracy Project. I don't know if you all are aware of that.
Yes,
You are? Okay, good. I won't go into it then.
you can. Not everybody might be aware of what it is. Actually, Linda's already installed the app, and I'm about to do it soon.
I've had it installed since last year. And what Digital Democracy Project is allowing the people to vote on the bills that are going before the legislature. So you go into the app, you look at the bills that are being filed, and they try to provide a nonpartisan view of the bill. And then you vote. And you can see the people's vote as you're in there. After that, there's a report card for the legislators that says, did you vote like the people did? And it gives a report card for each legislator. Did that make it clear enough? It's a nice little app that you just put on your phone, and you can vote anytime, and it reminds you to vote. Any questions on that?
It's very comprehensive from what I've seen of it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. They don't do every bill because that would be too much. They do bills that groups are asking them to carry, and then they do bills that look like they need to be carried. So it's not every bill, or it'd be counterproductive. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
How do you access the app Is it through the app program on your phone, or is it a special place?
I think you access it on your phone, but you need a number to get in. So let me
Correct.
get back to you on that.
Good, put it on the chat. That'd be great. Thanks.
Well, I
got it.
won't,
Got it at the App Store. It's at the App Store, Carol.
Oh, it is.
Can
Okay,
you
that's what I
repeat the
wanted.
name of the app? I know someone mentioned that on the chat.
Digital Democracy Project.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay. We have non-pillar issues also, which is voting rights, getting out the vote, election protection. We don't do a lot with voter registration except at tabling. Our members do a lot. A lot of our members are also members of the league and vice versa. So we'll support league voter registration work. And we do it at our tabling to have people do their own form and then take it away and mail it in. We'll be doing probably through a grant postcarding for vote by mail, since we're in such bad shape in Florida on vote by mail. We also are concerned about climate and environmental justice as the existential threat. But we work on that in support of other organizations because we're not the lead organization. We also do a lot with federal, state, and local PAC endorsements. Unlike the league, we endorse candidates. Okay. I was told that your meeting was about what's next. And I thought I would go through what we're talking through as now. And it's about focus. Don't get sucked into the shocking chaos of the legislature and Trump and Musk, President Musk. You just got to stay focused on your issues and make sure you know what your priority issues are, or you'll get run around, and that's exactly what he wants. Take breaks from the news, be with family and friends, trust and rejuvenate each other. I think that's one of the most important things. When we get together as a chapter, it's wonderful because there are like-minded people there that want to act. We've really made hope our anchor, and our, I don't know, baseliners: never be silent, never give up, and act. So that's kind of what's the first, what's next. Then these are initial actions. They're both at a chapter level and an individual level. We've only just started working on actions for individuals. I'm sorry, my voice is just going. We've gotten immigrant rights red palm cards that on the one side it has their rights in English, the other side in Spanish, or you can get other languages. And we've been putting them in restaurants, giving them out to people that might know somebody that's an immigrant that needs protection. The red palm cards, now you have to print them yourselves because they cost too much money for the whoever was doing the red palm cards. Put up Plan C stickers in the bathrooms, on the toilet stall door, on the mirror, in restaurant bathrooms. We've put up Plan C stickers a lot, and we find that it just makes sense to get people aware of Plan C so they're not caught off guard. The other thing about Plan C is you can order that medication before you need it, and that's what people should be doing. You can get Plan C stickers for free at planc.org. We're working, like I think you are, the Medicaid expansion petition and the Clean Water Ballot Initiative petition.
Yes.
We've gotten lots of signatures on those. We're worried about them both because of the what DeSantis and the legislature is trying to do to eliminate ballot initiatives, citizen-led ballot initiatives. It's scary because I think they're going to do it. We're fighting it. Speak at school board meetings, speak at city county board meetings. We're trying to have look at each agenda and have talking points that members can go in with and speak to. Testify and tally. Several of our chapters are going up to tally, and what we do is we create a top 5 bad bills and a top 5 good bills. In other words, top 5 bills to oppose and top good bills to support. We found that was most effective with legislators because they could immediately see, and we don't cover some things that we know that other organizations are covering, but the legislators really appreciate knowing what bills they should support and what they should oppose. Because not all, well, it's hard not to be political about this, but it's not all people, all Democratic legislators don't necessarily know what the good and bad bills are. You can take a 1-hour medication abortion tutorial, which is really important. You get it through Progress Florida. In order to talk about medication abortion, you have to be really careful because you can't be giving advice. And to protect yourselves, you have to have a certain way of phrasing it. So the 1-hour tutorial is really effective. Afterwards, I can give you the contact at Progress Florida if you don't have it. Okay. We've been doing a lot of tabling. It's to get our word out and our name out and discuss with attendees issues, whether it's DEI, repro health, citizen-led initiatives. Tabling is real effective for us. Also in terms of getting signatures on Medicaid expansion and ballot initiatives. There's like a protest every week now. So we're trying to split up the protests and rallies and boycotts among ourselves so we cover as many as we can. We've covered the February 28th, the March 4th. We're doing one on March 16th. So it's a lot. In April, we did the first Tesla boycott at their showroom in Orlando this past week. And in April, we're going to be leading the Tesla boycott at one of Tesla's dealerships. We're trying to get each chapter to do press releases on Florida and Washington issues. As Florida now, I issue a lot of press releases, but if we could get more of the chapters doing the same, we'd get more local exposure. One of the things we're working on is we want to have facts that highlight truth and share them with members and others. We use AI for a lot of stuff now. It's so terrific. It's got a lot of downsides, but it has a lot of upsides. The idea is that we should have facts that we know off the tip of our tongues to talk about reproductive justice, to talk about the dismantling of DEI, to talk about the problems with education. So we're developing those as fast as we can. I already mentioned, well, you'll see those come out one by each. The FRF is reviewing our reproductive rights one right now. Do op-eds and letter to the editor. I'll tell you, using AI for that is great. I've gotten 3 op-eds published. I didn't use AI for those, but I should have. But it was nice to get published. On March 15th, we're all supposed to write postcards to the White House, telling Trump he's awful and what we're most appalled at. So you're supposed to write the postcards now and send them on the 15th so that he gets a crashing number of postcards complaining about him. We're going to also do postcards for vote by mail. We're in the process of trying to get a grant for that. It's really important. The other thing that an individual can do is call the White House every day with your opposition to what he's doing. You try and mock him because he doesn't like that at all. And I just listed a few of the things that people could talk about when they contacted the White House. Now, I wanted to do a time check. Am I doing okay?
Yes, we're midway. It's 7:30.
Okay, great. This is our the state of Florida. They're implementing Project 2025 earlier than the country took it on. And they've made unbelievable progress in implementing it. You can go to the Project 2025 tracker, and you can see on a national level how much progress they've made on implementing Project 2025. It's a great it's a great tracker. The legislature and DeSantis aren't addressing the myriad of problems that Floridians face, whether it's affordable housing, affordable insurance. We're really worried about the negative impact on women from no Medicaid expansion and the severe cuts to Medicaid that we think are going to happen. We don't think we can stop it since it was in the budget, but there may be enough of an uprising that they won't go as crazy as they were going to go. Negative impact on LGBTQIA, trans people, you're all fully aware of that. Negative impact on people of color, denying their history, not addressing current injustice, and ending DEI. It's a white male supremacy world, and it's frightening. I can't emphasize enough that we have been taken over by white male supremacists. Public education, the end of the DEI programs. And I don't know if you saw the list of words that Trump has to be taken out of all government documents. It goes on and on. It's just terrible what they're taking out. It's terrible. Anyway, here in Florida, DeSantis has done a lot of it already. School segregation is real due to the school vouchers. It looks like the end of student activism if they can't protest and demonstrate on campus. The severe book banning is a problem. Climate change not being able to be in any textbooks is wrong. I mean, it's going to make our kids stupid. Repro health, wrongful death of child, no birth control for minors, no or absent only teaching. I wrote an op-ed for the Orlando Sentinel on comprehensive sex ed and that we didn't have sex ed in Florida. It's really first of all, a lot of schools are not teaching sex ed now because they're afraid of the Department of Education. And second of all, where they're allowed to teach it, it's so limited that it's worthless. We already mentioned citizen-led ballot initiatives, and we're opposing a union busting bill that's come up for this session. What do we expect more of? More of Project 2025. The other thing that was really annoying was that the GOP filed many of their bills at the deadline. They didn't file them before, which they usually do, but we think it was to keep us off balance on what was coming down the pike. Matter of fact, I don't think it, I'm sure of it. We may not be able to stop a lot of these bad bills because they have it in their heads to do it. And probably a lot of bills that won't make it out of committee, but hopefully our contingent of people that support our issues will make the bad bills less bad and try and get a few good bills out of committee. Okay. I just wanted to mention this because I think the bills from last year were cruel, whether it was a 6-week abortion ban, permitless carry because of the impact it has on violence, only 8 jurors required to decide a death penalty, expansion of Don't Say Gay, voter suppression bills, preemption to not allow heat-related rules for outside workers to be set by municipalities, turn down a federal food assistance for children, that baffles me, arresting homeless, traumatizing them, especially the mentally ill, and it costs more to keep them in jail than if we had housing for them or, housing for them. And then allowing teenagers to work longer hours in more dangerous jobs. It just seems to me that Florida has become cruel, and it shouldn't be that way. But they don't have empathy for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
What we talked about with our team was speaking out on school vouchers and the lack of funding for public schools, speaking out on book banning, speaking out on teaching whitewashed American history, like the piece that's in the history now that says slavery had a benefit for Black people. The comprehensive sex ed has to happen in middle and high schools, and keep speaking against ending DEI programs. I'm pretty sure they're destroyed nationally and in the state, but that doesn't mean we don't give up, that we have to give up on them, or we don't keep pushing back, because diversity, equity, and inclusion is a hallmark of what I consider the United States future. And we can't let go of it. And I don't understand how some of the stuff that came around all of a sudden decided to end DEI, except that they're white male supremacists. Some of this was for my group. You all know about the ERA. The only thing I would mention is that we are taking the position that ERA is law because of what Biden did. And whether that stands or whether it gets brushed aside, we're still going to fight to say, oh, excuse me, all the requirements were met. As I said, you all know the ERA, so I'm not going to go into the details. What we're doing is protesting the abortion bans, even fighting for the end of the 6-week ban. We really are protesting fake clinics. They are awful, and they mislead women and teenagers relentlessly to the point of stalling them so they can't get an abortion within the 6-week period. And on fake clinics, which is so upsetting, the government is spending at least $26 million to support these fake clinics out of our taxpayer dollars. That's wrong. We're trying to work on expanding access to contraception. They're trying to make it unavailable to minors. I'm not sure where that's going to go this session. I hope it doesn't go through. Working in support of African American women on high women's mortality and babies' high mortality rate. We're really trying to support Black and Repro on the FRF team. So we'll be having somebody, for example, speaking at the Florida Now conference on these issues, because it's so imperative that we do something about the mortality rate and the baby's high mortality rate. We have some of our members that are doing period poverty pantries. We are going to protest to the end fetal personhood, life of the unborn child. It's a fetus when it's inside a woman, it is not a child. Okay. I don't know if you really need this either. We spent a lot of time getting people to understand equity and equality as different things, because they are. But I don't think I need to go through that with you all, right?
No,
Okay.
not for me.
The most important thing is equality is about equal rights and opportunities, like with the ERA. Equity is about fairness and justice in treatment. So you might have, one person might have more support than another person because they need that support to fairly compete or go for opportunities. Hold on, sorry. It's touchy. We've already talked about this. Well, we constantly try to make sure we're welcoming to everybody and that we support DEIA in everything we do. We are not throwing it out. It is absolutely pivotal to what we do. Embrace equity. We put marginalized communities first. We learn about injustice of the past and currently. A lot of learning is required for all of us in relation to that. I'm in the Florida Now book club, and we focus on race and the history of people of color and the past injustices and current injustices. I have learned more history that I didn't know, was never taught in school, than you can imagine, whether it was the Japanese concentration camps here, whether it was the history of Jim Crow, whether it was, it's just amazing what we aren't taught and what we don't realize today. Okay. We are women's rights every day. It seems to get worse every day. But while we're together, I wanted to honor some of our women's leaders. A few of them are real well known, but my favorites: Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Katherine Johnson, Marie Curie, and Sojourner Truth. I think you all know them really well. It's not a surprise that any of them are on the list, but they always make me feel powerful when I read something about them. A few of my favorites are maybe less well known is Dolores Huerta, a labor leader and civil rights activist. She co-founded the United Farm Workers and fought for the rights of farm workers and immigrants. Boy, do we need her now. Jane Addams, a pioneer in social work and a leader in the settlement house movement. She co-founded Hull House in Chicago and was a strong advocate for peace and women's suffrage. Ella Baker was a behind-the-scenes leader in the civil rights movement. She played a key role in organizations like the NAACP, the SCLC, and the SNCC. These women, all of them, represent courage, intellect, creativity, making them perfect to highlight for Women's History Month. We have a proud history of people in diverse fields and causes that have driven American history as much as the white man has. And let's see. Well, thank you for your time. I hope I didn't go over.
No, not at all. Thank you for giving us your time. You know, your presentation made me feel at least that, boy, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Taking all of those issues together, it makes it seem insurmountable, but just the way you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. Does anybody have any questions for Debbie?
Well, not a question. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Janet, go ahead.
I'm just really impressed. I had to step away because my daughter called me, and she's a physician who has a daughter and a son. But I just saying, this woman, I'm hoping that all of these things going on everywhere, when I'm predicting, I don't know, I should say this, but anyway, in 2 years, there's going to be a revolution. Anyway, so, I mean, if there's enough activity going on that will maintain the frame of things that are really important to people and will make people prosper, but also like women's health issues and all those things you're doing, I think it's amazing. And I didn't know all of that, and I feel really privileged to listen to this.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I agree.
Well-
I think you're going to get a few new members Debbie.
Well, that would be great, because we want to get out there, and I'm really excited by my Greater Orlando chapter. I have so many active members that are out there doing things, which is absolutely terrific. Linda.
Yeah, I just want, I also thank you for your presentation, Debbie, and I want to just jump on what you said about not giving up, about not letting all this, I don't even know a good word for the baloney that's going on in our country now, but it's hard. It's hard not to be depressed, and it's hard not to just sit down and say, there's nothing more I can do. It's taken off. It's got a life of its own, blah, blah, blah. But that's not true. That's not true. At least I hope it's not true. When I watch the news, God help me, I watch the news. Every day there are hundreds, if not thousands of people out on the streets protesting different issues. I understand the Republicans in Congress have been told to not have any meetings with their constituents because all that's happening is they're being yelled at. And yeah, a lot of buyer's remorse going on among the Trumpites. And even the Democrats, if you're listening, are getting yelled at a good deal from their people, saying you need to be doing more. You need to step up. You need to stop being so passive, which, again, a very partisan statement. I am a registered Democrat, and I'm incredibly disappointed in the Democratic Party of this country. So, yeah, they do need to step up and do more. We have midterm elections coming up in 26, which is going to be here in a flash. So all of us here in the league will have to get very busy and get organized and get out and do what we do what the league does, and what NOW is doing, which is particularly reaching out to the people, as you said, who are not voting by mail anymore because they still don't realize that their ballots have been canceled. Lots to do. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep going on and on here, but don't give up, ladies. We can't give up. We can't afford to give up. That's it.
And Linda, will I see you on Friday? At the book club. At the book club on Friday?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm bringing dessert.
You didn't check in. Oh, maybe you did. I haven't seen it.
I thought I did. I'll double check. Thanks, Jen.
Okay, anyway, great.
Does anybody have a question for Debbie? So I was talking to a woman the other day who wanted to know more about the league. And I said, really the issues are issues that confront people on an individual level. It's about housing, it's about health, it's it's about education. All of those are human issues.
Mhm.
And so you're right, we have to fight to preserve them.
You have to fight, but you got to take a break from the news, because it'll just give you
I know.
shock and chaos, and
Yeah,
get with friends,
it's
get with
toxic.
like-minded people, just like you have here.
I'll just say one thing. I'm a psychotherapist, PhD, and I've been talking to a few colleagues, and we said this is the first time that politics have become a stressor in the therapy session.
I
So, I
Ah.
mean, almost to a person, but depending on, there's a few people, who are not in the same, but people are terribly worried. And it's not like you can say, oh, that's just your anxiety or an analytic, expression. It's coming from, your parents who didn't, it's a real worry. They don't know what's happening. They don't know what they can depend on. They don't know what the stability will be of the country. And it's something I never really had to ever deal with before. That's what my colleagues are saying as well. So it's a very interesting turn of events.
If I
feel
could
like we're
figure,
out of control. Go ahead, Carol.
I was going to say, if I could figure out how to raise my hand, I would have done it. But what I want to make a point is that one thing that is really important is that we have good candidates that are running.
Ah,
Too often we're out
Absolutely.
there, saying to these elections that now the city elections are just as important as the legislative
Yes.
elections. And we keep saying, get out there, but then I see the list of candidates and the Democrats are not sticking up. The people that are looking for the good of all, the DEI, all of that, they're not stepping up. And that's what we really need to do. So you got to have good
Agree.
candidates if you're going to have good elections.
We think that too. We really,
You do.
and yeah, we really encourage feminist people to run. It doesn't matter whether male or female, but we gotta have feminists run.
well, let's hope more of them do, because it's hard being a candidate these days. It's not only horrendously expensive, but with the availability of internet information, I mean, they start picking at you from the time you're 2 days old, and if there's
Yeah.
nothing there, they'll make it up. So it's tough being a candidate.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Harriet.
I've had to really grab myself and pull myself back into a safe place. I really took a dive at the end of the election, and I think it affected me physically and certainly mentally. And so I have stopped watching the news regularly, although I have to admit it's little by little I'm finding things that I support. So basically, I've had to narrow it all down to a few things that I really care about, and then try to find specific things that people are doing that I can support. And then my feeling of success and involvement is that at least I contributed something and somebody is doing something that I like. And the rest of it is way beyond anything I can even manage, So just blocking it out and letting know that in the end, the right thing is going to happen. People are going to get what they want eventually, whether we like that or not. But all we can do is do something that makes us feel good. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
And take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
that's
Well-
why I started off the presentation with that. You can't give in to the shock and chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, feels a little overwhelming sometimes.
Absolutely.
But as you said, there are concrete things that we each can do.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And it was such a wonderful presentation, so informative,
Amazing.
Debbie. And
Great.
thank you for your passion and your activism.
Wow.
I'm sure we all appreciate it. And
well,
rah,
thank
rah,
you so
rah,
much.
rah.
Bravo, I try to stay positive.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, thank
So-
you, all of you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. And good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Jane.
Good luck next week, Debbie.